Good morning. So we have a couple things planned for today. Yesterday we had some heavy rain still, and so what we've noticed when it rains really hard is that there's still some water coming in the yurt. So there's a couple things we want to do about that. But just to explain for you a little bit, so if you buy a yurt and they usually advise you to make the deck as big as the yurt and not bigger, because then it's possible for water to stay on the deck and kind of seep in that way. As you might know, we bought a different yurt which was slightly bigger than this one, and so the deck that we had built was made for that one and not for this one. So along the whole yurt there's now a little bit of deck space left, which I think is one of the problems. We can't really do anything about that. But one thing that we do want to do is that, as you might remember, we made a ring around the yurt, which is for stability and to keep everything, all the fabric in place really well. So we already cut off all the OSB there before we finished everything. So in that video I showed you that we pulled up all the side fabric again, because it was kind of drooping on the sides, which was not good. And so we pulled everything up, and then we realized, oh, because there was a lot of space because of that looping, there's now a lot of extra space between the ring and the yurt. So one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to make that the ring fit properly, and that should hopefully help to push everything against the walls, all the felt and all the fabric, and that should hopefully help as well with keeping all the water outside and not inside. And then by the door it's kind of coming in as well, but that's also because there's a little bit of some OSB sticking out there. So we're gonna also get rid of that, and then we have to seal the OSB there, and then we shall see how it goes then. These are adjustments that you kind of have to make and kind of have to feel out when you get into a yurt. In Mongolia, where they come from, it's usually quite dry, so they're not that's one of the disadvantages of living in one in Europe. If you don't do anything to adjust them to a European climate. So we have a quite traditional one with felt and with just normal fabric. Yurt like this kind of needs a little bit of maintenance. I'm sorry if there's noise, but explaining with some blocks right here. But that's the charm of a daily vlog, hopefully. And then we can move down the generator as well to fill up the water tanks that we have in the garden. So with this whole self-isolation thing, quarantine, the virus going around, actually here in the area I don't think there are any official cases as of yet. Here in Portugal, most of the cases have been in Porto or in Lisbon, and I think there are a few official cases in Coimbra, but not here. But that doesn't mean that the virus is not here or that we don't have it. So the whole area is the same as the country, so the borders are closed, the shops are open, only the essential shops are open, so the supermarkets and petrol stations and things like that are open, but nothing else. Kind of strategy that we are taking is that if we get it, we will be fine. I think we're young, we're healthy. For now, we are staying clear of the village. That's because I think the average age there is 70 or maybe even older. So if we might get it somewhere and we infect some people in the village, that's not okay. So for now we're staying clear from the shop there. We're not going into town for any water or anything. We're just staying clear of all the old people who live here, and hopefully we will not have any issues here. So our behavior has changed a little bit, but for the most part we're pretty good here. We have lots of room, lots of space to, and lots of jobs to do. So I think we'll be fine. So I'm gonna stop rambling now, and I'm gonna do some work, and I'll talk to you later. Louis! So the final thing that we have to do, or are gonna do today, to make the ring around the yurt better, is that we're using this plywood, it's just thin plywood, for the ring. And last time that it was really windy, we noticed that it was really flapping, the cover. So one of the reasons that it was flapping so much was probably because the lines that we used to keep everything tight, they weren't really tight enough. So we fixed that, and then a couple days later we still had some wind, and then it was pretty fine. But one adjustment that we still wanted to make is that we want to put this smaller piece of wood on top of the plywood, and then we can really use the straps to get it really tightly onto this, and hopefully that extra piece of wood will create some more friction to keep the cover in place. And so this is an issue because the straps are fabric, and this is fabric, and it's quite smooth fabric, so it like slips really easily, and it needs something extra to keep it super locked down. So that's the last thing I'm going to do today. This is also where I leave you for today. I hope you have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.